So she has utilized both male and female names, but through all of our investigation to this point, talking with individuals, interviews, documents, Houston Police Department reports, she has been identified this entire time as female, she, her, and so we are identifying her as Genesse Moreno, Hispanic female.
New details about that deadly shooting at Pastor Joel Osteen's megachurch in Houston. A law enforcement source telling CNN that the woman who opened fire, she used an AR-15 rifle that had the words "Free Palestine" written on it. She also had a small child with her when she entered that church on Sunday afternoon. Now, police are saying that 2 off-duty officers engaged with the woman and killed her. The child was critically injured in that gunfire. CNN's Ed Lavandera is on the scene in Houston. So, Ed, I understand that we've just learned the identity of the suspected shooter. What more do we know?
Yeah, search warrant documents that were filed this morning in Montgomery County, which is just north of Houston, identify the shooter here at the Lakewood Church as 36-year-old Genesse Ivonne Moreno. It could also be pronounced Genesse, not exactly sure on the pronunciation, but according to these court documents, the woman was shot by 2 off-duty officers working security here at the church after she had pointed their weapon at them. The document says that the officers fired in self-defense.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about a story that will probably disappear in 24 hours. And the reason why is because it doesn't fit the narrative. Or put it this way, there's one narrative that this story does fit, and that is the narrative about AR-15s being evil and how we must ban them. That is the narrative that it does fit for the left. However, the rest of the story doesn't fit the narrative. So my guess is that you probably won't hear too much about this story after 24 hours, okay? Because this story involves an individual who is possibly trans, okay? Or maybe they were transitioning. I'm not entirely sure if you could say that they were trans for sure, but that's what a lot of people are speculating. But we do know for a fact that they were a left-wing extremist, and they attempted to commit a mass shooting at Joel Osteen's Lakewood, Texas church on Sunday. And the police, who I believe were off-duty police officers, maybe they were serving as church security, that's what it seems like from the story that I've read, took this individual out as they attempted to commit a mass shooting. Thank God. Now, the individual rolled up to the scene with a child in her hand, a 5-year-old who also ended up getting shot. And you also had another individual, a 50-some-year-old man, that ended up getting shot. Again, the suspect here is deceased. The child is, I believe, in intensive care, and it seems like the child might not make it, unfortunately. But the man that was shot, it seems like he's going to be okay. But again, thank God for law enforcement quickly responding, good guys with guns, taking out this individual before they could do more damage, okay? And, you know, that's part of the reason why you're not really going to hear much about this story after 24 to 48 hours is because there's so many angles to the story that just doesn't fit the narrative. And the mainstream liberal media, they're going to sweep it under the rug, okay? You'll hear a lot about AR-15s, but you're not going to hear about how we have what seems to be a pattern of disturbing behavior, where you have Christian churches being targeted by mass shooters, these mass shooters seeming to adhere to left-wing ideologies. And in this case, you have a shooter that may or may not have been trans. And we're going to look deeper into that, but that matters because, you know, lately we have had mass shooters that seem to identify with that lifestyle recently, okay? And, you know, hey, if the shooter was white, we all know what the mainstream liberal media would be saying. Identity would matter. They'd be talking about how this person is white. Is there some issues that we have in this country where we need to address when it comes to white mass shooters? But we all know when you see this pattern, a pattern that doesn't fit the narrative here, you know, hey, the mainstream liberal media, they're not going to ask any questions about it. And if you ask questions about it, then you're bigot. Okay, so with that being said, we need to explore who this person is so that we can get a better understanding of what's going on with this story. But before we get into it, we have to have a word from the sponsor of this video, Noble Gold. Have you guys taken a good look at the banks lately? Now, on the surface, everything may seem fine. But there's a whole lot more going on underneath. It's like looking under the hood of a car and finding a mess of broken wires and parts. The parts are loans for homes, cars, and the credit cards that we use. They're all hitting record highs. It's really scary when you think about it. Why risk your money for a tiny 5% when things are so shaky? This is where Noble Gold can help. They're like that friend that knows all about how to keep money safe. They suggest gold and silver, oldies but goodies in the finance world. Plus, they've got a sweet deal, a 1/4 ounce gold standard coin this month if you qualify. That sounds pretty cool, right? If you're curious, just give them a call at 877-646-5347. That is 877-646-5347. And don't worry, it's just a chat, no pressure. They will help you figure out if gold and silver are right for you. Or you can visit noblegoldinvestments.com and take the first step towards a safer, more secure financial future. And just remember, there's a risk with every investment and there's no guarantee of any kind.
Got some breaking news. The police have identified the person who opened fire at Joel Osteen's megachurch in Houston yesterday. William Genesse is on this for us. William, what exactly are we learning?
So we just got a hold of the search warrant and can confirm that the shooter is identified as a 36-year-old Genesse Ivonne Moreno. She had been born a man, Jeffrey Escalante, from El Salvador, and has a lengthy criminal record. Now, according to the search warrant from Montgomery County, she pointed an AR-15 at the officers, off-duty officers who were in the church at the time, and they fired upon her, killed her, and was considered in self-defense. Also, there was word that the woman had claimed that she had a bomb and she had a backpack. They checked that out. Turned out it wasn't true, but according to the search warrant, she was in possession of a yellow color rope and substances consistent with the manufacture of explosives. They thought that was a detonation cord. They looked into it and it turned out not to be the case. We're also hearing from local reports that the 5-year-old who was with this woman is likely not to make it. The 5-year-old boy has been in critical condition, and according to the Houston Chronicle, it doesn't appear that individual is going to make it. A 57-year-old man was also shot in this altercation at Lakewood Church there in Houston, which of course is operated by celebrity pastor Joel Osteen. That individual, the 57-year-old man, he's going to be okay. He was shot in the leg. But the information we're getting now, we've seen a lengthy criminal record on this individual. Again, as a man, he had a lengthy record of assaulting a police officer, marijuana. Also, I've got a lengthy record here, several different offenses over about the past since 2005. So that's what we got from here, and news conference is scheduled to begin at 2:30 Eastern, and we should get more information.
Yeah, among the most serious, a 2009 assault of a police officer in Houston. William, 2010 forgery. Most recently, 2022, a misdemeanor weapons charge for unlawful carrying a weapon.
Yeah, so again, this is shocking, okay, to say the least, because when I initially looked into this story, it was very confusing in regards to the trans identity of this person. This is why I say allegedly, because, I mean, at this point, I really don't know. It seemed like to me that this person was transitioning into a male. That's what I initially thought, okay? But now new information is showing that the transition was actually the other way around. This was a male. This is a male that was transitioning into a woman. Now, that is according to Fox News. This is what they're saying, but this is the only outlet that I've seen actually say that the person was born a man. I have no clue, okay, at all. I'm telling you, this is extremely confusing because they're saying that the 5-year-old that was shot is actually the child of this individual, okay? So some reports are saying that this shooter was the mother of the child, which is not possible if the shooter is a biological male, which is what Fox News is saying, but Fox News is the only outlet that I've seen say that this person is a biological male. It seems to me, based off pictures that we've seen before in the past of this person, it seems like they were more feminine at first, but then they started to get more masculine. I don't know, right? So in terms of the trans stuff, I have absolutely no clue, right? That's the takeaway from this. I don't know. But allegedly, this person did have a history of mental health issues, okay? And despite these mental health issues that were known, okay, by authorities, apparently, this person was still able to get access to the weapon, okay? And again, I want you guys to keep that in mind. That's going to be particularly important information as we're going to look at some of the images of this person throughout the years. But this person is a Bernie Sanders supporter. They wrote Free Palestine on the weapon. So ideologically, they are far left. The individual also allegedly attended the church. Okay. So I think that there are a lot of questions here about this individual and what may or may not have been going through this individual's head at the time of this shooting or making the decision to commit this act. But one thing I do know is that we definitely need to start having serious conversations about some of the disturbing patterns of behavior that we're seeing in this country from people who are committing these violent acts, but also happen to have far left political ideologies. Again, that's a conversation that the mainstream liberal media is refusing to have. But, you know, if this stuff continues to happen, we really need to be having these conversations. But what they'll try to talk about is the gun. They'll talk about AR-15. Okay, they'll talk about everything else except the real conversations we need to have, which is about how far left woke ideology is radicalizing people to commit these violent acts because they had Free Palestine written on the weapon. And a lot of people that, you know, are pro Free Palestine, they happen to be aligned with the far left. And we've seen how extreme and violent these people have been over the last 7 or 8 months, ever since that horrible attack by Hamas in Israel. And ever since then, the domestic violence here, the extremism here has been escalating. Okay. And this seems to be a tipping point where you have mass shootings being carried out with, you know, Free Palestine slogans on them. Okay. So, you know, that is very disturbing information.
William Genesse, as you mentioned, 2:30, we're going to need an update from the police there, and we'll certainly take that live. Did you have something to add?
Well, no, just only on the AR-15, he had scrawled Free Palestine.
Yes, a big and growing part of that story. And William, we have the picture now of this suspect up on the screen.
Yeah, and you know, when we're going to get we have 5 of those photos that we're loading right now into the computer system. But when you look at the progression of this individual over the last 5 or 6 years, definitely had a pretty hard life because there's a great transformation from the first photos from the mugshots that were taken to the one you're seeing right now.
So, born as Jeffrey Escalante Moreno, goes by the alias Genesse Ivonne Moreno. We're going to have more on this when the police update at 2:30. Thank you.
Yeah, so that is extremely disturbing. Okay, so what you can see here are previous mugshots of this individual throughout the years. Okay, and again, that's why I said I initially was confused by Fox News' report, because before, this person looked more feminine, okay, in previous mugshots. And in the mugshot more recently, this person looks, I guess, a little bit more masculine. Still feminine-ish, but definitely more masculine than these photos, right? So I have no clue exactly what's going on here, okay? I mean, the information that we have on this person, I guess this is from the judicial system in that area. This person's name, Jeffrey Escalante Moreno, says place of birth, El Salvador, but yet they classify their ethnicity as non-Hispanic. And then sex is listed as female, even though Fox News reports that they were born male. So, again, I don't know, right? There's a lot of confusion about this story in regards to who this individual is. It seems to me that the criminal justice system can't even get this person right in regards to their ethnicity. I don't know how you are born in El Salvador. You look Hispanic, but yet they say that you're just white. You're not Hispanic, right? They classify your ethnicity as not Hispanic. Again, sex, it refers to biology. This may not be right to say that the person's sex is female. I honestly have zero clue, right, what this person was born as. And again, this is part of the reason why I say that we should not be allowing individuals to change their birth documents in regards to their sex or their gender on their birth documents, because we need to know exactly who they were when they were born, right? What was their sex at birth, right? I mean, we need to know that. And, stories like this is exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so this person, in the system, they put their sex is female when Fox News is reporting that they were born a male. This person was born Jeffrey, and they changed their name to Genesse. I guess they are a female now. Again, I'm not sure. There's a whole lot of confusion here. But again, the confusion, again, is happening because, we just allow this type of information to be changed so easily, okay, based off what individuals want that don't want to accept how they were born. So with that being said, there's a lot more questions than answers. What I do know is that, we definitely should be talking about left-wing extremism in this country and how left-wing extreme ideology could be driving some of these mass shootings. We definitely should be having a larger conversation about why are churches being targeted, why are Christians being targeted by this left-wing violence. That is a conversation that the mainstream liberal media will never have, even though, again, we are seeing a disturbing pattern of behavior targeted at Christians by left-wing extremists. But again, this is the type of stuff that the Democrat Party, that the liberal media, they have turned a blind eye to it. They pretended that it doesn't exist, and it continues to escalate and escalate and escalate. And unfortunately, people are losing their lives because of it. But in this situation, thank God that you had police officers there to take out this shooter. I don't know why we don't build statues of good Samaritans and good guys with guns, right? We should definitely be building more statues of good guys with guns to serve as a deterrent, to serve as a reminder of what happens when you try to commit these violent acts in public, that you will have people who are armed and ready to take you out. And that's exactly what happened in this situation. We'll be getting more information on it, but I got a feeling that this story will be swept under the rug. You won't be hearing too much about this story once all the details and information comes out. It'll be going in 24 to 48 hours, right? They'll be on to the next thing because, once again, this don't fit the narrative. Don't fit the narrative. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.